I didn't get kicked out of my house in a quiet, private argument. No, my wife made it a performance. I'm standing in the hallway with my keys in my hand, and she's throwing my bags toward the front door like she can't wait to get rid of me fast enough. Get out, she snapped. Go be broke somewhere else. My shirt hit the wall. My shoes landed near the doormat. And the worst part? She wasn't even emotional. She looked relieved, like she'd been waiting for an excuse to say it out loud. I'm Darian, 34. I work in logistics. Nothing glamorous, but steady. The kind of job where you solve problems all day so other people's lives keep moving. I've never cheated, never hit her, never gambled away money. I wasn't a perfect husband, but I wasn't a bad one either. But in her eyes, there was only one measurement that mattered: money. Let me back up because you need to understand how we got to that moment. When I met my wife, Serena, she was the sweetest person in the room. Warm smile, soft voice. Everyone loved her. We dated 2 years. Got married quick after that. The first year was good. The second year got weird. Little comments started slipping out. Not insults exactly. More like comparisons. Did you see what Maya's husband bought her? Ryan's already looking at houses. My dad says a man should be able to provide without stress. At first I laughed it off. Everyone says dumb things sometimes. But over time, those little comments started stacking up like bricks. And then her friend group changed. She started hanging out with this crowd of women who talked about standards like it was a weapon. They'd post quotes like, "If he wanted to, he would. A real man provides. Don't build with a man who should already be built." Serena started repeating those lines like scripture. I noticed it most when she got angry. If I forgot to pick something up from the store, it wasn't "you forgot." It was, "Of course you forgot. You're always overwhelmed. You can't handle anything." If I said we should slow down on spending, it wasn't okay. It was, "Wow. So I married someone who thinks I should live small. Live small." Like wanting to budget meant I was trying to punish her. Then last month, everything hit at once. My company went through layoffs. Not me, but ours got cut. Overtime disappeared. So my paycheck took a hit. I told Serena immediately, not hiding it, not lying. I said, "It's temporary. I'll find a solution. I always do." She nodded, but her eyes didn't look worried. They looked disappointed, like my value just dropped. The next 2 weeks were pure tension. She'd leave her phone face down when I walked in. She'd take calls in the bathroom. She'd dress up for errands. And every conversation had this edge, like she was mentally somewhere else. Then came the night it blew up. I walked in after work and she was at the table with her laptop open, a notepad beside her. She didn't even look up. "We need to talk," she said. My stomach dropped. I sat down slowly. She finally looked at me, and her face was cold. "I can't do this," she said. "Do what?" I asked. She gestured at me like I was the problem. "This marriage," she said. "This struggling. This constantly worrying." I stared at her. "Serena," I said carefully, "we're not struggling. Overtime got cut. It's been, 3 weeks?" She laughed. A sharp laugh. "You think that's the point?" she snapped. "The point is you're not a provider." That word hit hard. Provider. Like I was a broken appliance. I swallowed. I pay the rent. Utilities. Groceries. She cut me off immediately. "And you complain," she said. "You always look tired. You always act like everything is hard." I felt heat rise in my chest. "Because I'm working," I said. "Because I'm trying." She leaned forward. "And I'm not trying to live like this," she said, voice low and cruel. "I deserve better." Better. That's when I realized she'd already decided. This wasn't a conversation. It was a sentence. I stood up slowly. "So what are you saying?" I asked. She didn't blink. "I'm saying you need to leave," she said. My mouth went dry. "Leave?" I repeated. "Serena, it's our home." She pointed toward the door. "My name's on the lease," she said. "And if you're not providing enough, you're not staying." I stared at her. Because that wasn't just rejection. That was eviction. From my own life. I tried to talk. Tried to reason. Tried to remind her of vows and partnership and the fact that marriage isn't a subscription you cancel when the benefits dip. She didn't care. She stood up, walked into the bedroom, grabbed a duffel bag, and started throwing my clothes into it like she was cleaning a closet. That's when I heard myself say something I didn't even plan. Is there someone else? I asked. Her hands paused for half a second. Just half. But it was enough. She didn't answer. She just kept packing. And that silence told me everything. 10 minutes later, I was standing in the hallway while she tossed my bags toward the door. And she said the line I'll never forget. Come back when you're worth it. Worth it. Like love had a price tag. I picked up my bags. I looked at her one last time. And I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I just nodded. Okay, I said quietly. And I walked out. I slept on my cousin's couch that night. And I didn't cry. Not because it didn't hurt, but because something inside me had already switched off. Because when someone shows you they only love you when you're useful, that's not love. That's a contract. And 2 weeks later, when Serena saw my new contract, she suddenly remembered my address. The first 48 hours after she kicked me out, my brain kept replaying her words like a loop. Come back when you're worth it. I didn't even miss the apartment at first. I missed the idea I had in my head that Serena loved me for me. Turns out she loved the version of me that made her feel secure and impressive. The provider husband she could show off, not the actual man. My cousin Nolan let me crash on his couch. He didn't ask questions the first night, just handed me a blanket and said, "You hungry?" That small kindness almost broke me, because it reminded me what real support looks like. The next morning, Nolan sat across from me with coffee and said, "So, what happened?" I told him everything. And when I finished, he didn't say, "Maybe she was stressed." He didn't say, "Women are like that." He just said one sentence. "She didn't kick you out because you're broke. She kicked you out because she thinks you're replaceable." That hit me right in the chest. Because deep down, I knew he was right. So I did the only thing I could do. I got focused. Not on revenge, on reality. I called my manager first and asked straight up if overtime was coming back. He was honest. Not for a while. So I updated my resume that same day. I didn't polish it for weeks. I didn't overthink. I just rebuilt it like my life depended on it. Because it did. Then I started applying everywhere. Bigger logistics firms, freight coordinators, supply chain roles, anything that paid better and had stability. I took calls in my car. I did interviews in Nolan's spare room. And every time I wanted to spiral and text Serena something emotional, I reminded myself. She didn't want to talk when I was hurting. She doesn't get access now. 3 days after I left, I got a message from Serena. One line. "Did you find somewhere to stay?" No apology. No, "Are you okay?" Just logistics. Like I was a tenant who moved out late. I didn't respond. Not because I wanted to play games. Because I knew if I responded, she'd drag me back into her control. Then on day 5, something else happened. A mutual friend posted an Instagram story from a rooftop bar. And there was Serena, laughing, dressed up, holding a drink. And beside her, a man's arm. Just an arm. But you know what that means when someone posts it like that? A soft launch. I stared at that story for 10 seconds, then I closed the app. And in that moment, any lingering doubt died. She didn't kick me out to protect her peace. She kicked me out because she already had options. She just wanted the clean exit where she looked justified. The next week was a blur. Interviews, calls, paperwork. And then, on day 11, I got the email. A large shipping company downtown wanted me. Not just wanted me. They offered me a contract role with potential to go permanent in 6 months. Salary, $112,000. Sign-on bonus, $8,000. Full benefits. Flexible schedule. I stared at the number like it was a prank. Because I'd never made that much in my life. Nolan walked in while I was staring at my laptop and said, "What's that face?" I turned the screen toward him. He read it, and his eyebrows shot up. "Bro," he said, "that's not a job. That's a comeback." I laughed for the first time in 2 weeks. But here's the crazy part. I didn't feel excited in the way I thought I would. I felt calm, like the universe just proved something I needed to learn. Serena wasn't the prize. Stability wasn't the prize. Respect was. And I'd been begging the wrong person for it. 2 days later, I went back to the apartment, midday, when I knew Serena would be at her yoga class. Not to fight, not to argue, just to get the rest of my things. Nolan came with me. When Serena wasn't there, the place felt different. Colder. Like it wasn't a home anymore, just a stage. I packed quietly. Clothes. Documents. My watch. My dad's old toolbox. And then I saw it. A folder on the kitchen counter with Serena's name written on it. Inside were printed screenshots, bank statements, leasing information, and a sticky note that said, "Talk to him about this after he's gone." I didn't open the rest. I didn't need to, because at this point, it wasn't my business anymore what she was planning. I took my things and left. That same night, I posted a simple update on LinkedIn. Just professional. Excited to announce I'm joining. No bragging. No shade. Just facts. And apparently, Serena saw it. Because exactly 2 days after that post, my phone rang at 9:17 p.m. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. But something told me to answer. "Hello," I said. Then I heard her voice. Soft. Sweet. A voice I hadn't heard in months. "Darian," she whispered. "It's me." I stayed quiet. She took that as permission to continue. "I saw your new job," she said, and she laughed nervously like it was good news for both of us. "I'm proud of you," she added. Proud. Like she hadn't thrown my bags out. Like she hadn't told me to leave until I was worth it. I kept my voice flat. "What do you want, Serena?" Her breath caught. She hesitated. "Can we talk? In person? Please." I didn't answer right away. Then she said it, the real reason. "I miss you," she whispered. "And I think we made a mistake. I was just stressed and I said things I didn't mean." I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was predictable. 2 weeks ago, I was not a provider. Now I was suddenly missed. I asked one question. "If I didn't get that contract, would you be calling me right now?" Silence. Long silence. Then she whispered, "Darian, don't do that. Don't do that." Meaning, don't make her admit the truth. Then she changed tactics. Her voice got shaky. "I need you," she said. There it was. Not love. Need. And right then, I knew what the next scene was going to be. She wasn't going to meet me at a coffee shop. She was going to show up. Crying. Trying to pull me back in before I could fully leave. And she didn't disappoint. Because the very next evening, there was a knock on Nolan's door. And when I opened it, Serena was standing there holding a bag of my favorite food like it was an apology. Her eyes were wet. Her makeup perfect, but her expression desperate. And she said the words she thought would unlock me again. "Please come home. I'll do better." But I wasn't the same man she kicked out. And I had something for her too. Not flowers. Not a second chance. A contract of my own. When I opened Nolan's door and saw Serena standing there, my first instinct wasn't anger. It was disbelief. Because she looked exactly like the version of herself she saved for situations where she needed something. Hair done. Outfit perfect. Eyes watery on command. And in her hands, a takeout bag from my favorite place. Like love can be delivered with a side of fries. "Darian," she whispered, stepping closer like she still had access to me. Nolan was behind me in the hallway, silent, watching. I didn't invite her in. I didn't step aside. I just stood there and said, "What are you doing here?" Her lips trembled. I needed to see you," she said softly. "In person." I nodded once. "You've seen me. Now say it." She flinched because she wasn't used to me being direct. "I saw your new job," she said quickly, like she was trying to sound supportive. "I'm so proud of you." I stared at her. "Proud," I repeated. "That's interesting." Her eyes flicked down. "I was wrong," she whispered. "I was stressed. I was scared. I didn't mean what I said. I didn't raise my voice." "Which part didn't you mean?" I asked. She blinked. "What?" I kept my tone calm. "Did you not mean go be broke somewhere else?" I asked. "Did you not mean you're not a provider? Or did you not mean come back when you're worth it?" Her face tightened, because now she couldn't hide behind vague apology language. She tried to step forward again. Darian, please. I held my hand up slightly. No, I said. Answer. She swallowed hard. I didn't mean it like that, she said. I nodded slowly. But you said it like that, I replied. And you packed my clothes like you couldn't wait. Tears spilled down her cheeks. And for a second, just a second, I saw the Serena I used to love. The woman who used to laugh with me, not at me. But then she said the next line. The line that exposed everything. Can we just go back? She whispered. Now that things are better? Now that. Not, now that I'm sorry. Not, now that I understand. Now that things are better. Meaning, now that the money is back. I stared at her for a long moment, then asked quietly, Did you tell anyone you kicked me out? Her eyes widened. Why does that matter? I nodded. It matters because I saw your rooftop picture, I said. The one with the arm. Her face went pale, and Nolan made a small sound behind me like, yup. Serena shook her head fast. That's nothing, she said. It was just friends. I was just trying to move on. I finished calmly. She burst into tears harder. I didn't think you'd actually leave, she sobbed. That sentence. That was the truth. She thought I'd come crawling back. She thought I'd beg to be worth it again. She thought kicking me out was a power move. I leaned against the door frame and said, You didn't think I'd leave because you thought I had nowhere to go. Serena wiped her face, desperate now. Darian, I'm your wife, she said. We can fix this. I'll do therapy. I'll cut off my friends. I shook my head slowly. You're offering solutions now because you can't afford the consequences, I said. She flinched like I slapped her. Then her voice changed. Softer at first, then sharp. So you're punishing me, she snapped. There it was. The mask slipping. You're punishing me because I was honest, she said louder. I was just telling you the truth. Nolan shifted behind me, like he was ready if she got out of hand. But I stayed calm. That wasn't honesty, I said. That was contempt. She stared at me, breathing hard. Then she tried a new tactic. Fine, she said, voice shaking. I messed up. But you're really going to throw away our marriage over a few words. A few words. Like words don't reveal character. I nodded slowly. Yes, I said. Because those words showed me exactly how you see me. She blinked, confused. I leaned forward slightly. You didn't say we'll get through this together, I continued. You said get out. You didn't say I'm scared. You said you're not worth it. Serena's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Then she whispered, I love you. I stared at her. No, I said quietly. You love what I can do. Her eyes widened, furious and hurt at the same time. That's not fair. I used to think fairness meant giving you another chance, I said calmly. Now I think fairness means giving myself peace. She looked like she couldn't believe this was happening. She took one shaky breath. So what? You're just done, she whispered. I nodded once. I'm done, I said. Her face twisted, like her brain couldn't accept losing control. Where are you even staying? She demanded. I didn't answer, because she didn't deserve details of my life anymore. She stepped closer, voice rising. Darian, you can't do this, she said. We have a lease. We have responsibilities. I nodded. Yes, I said calmly. And you should have remembered that before you threw my bags out. Her eyes darted around like she was searching for a new angle. Then she said it. The most telling sentence of the whole night. If you come back, we can start fresh, she whispered. We can be happy, especially with your new salary. Especially with your new salary. I stared at her for a long moment. Then I smiled slightly. Not a mean smile. A sad one. And I said, Serena, you already taught me what you do when life gets hard. She started crying again, but it didn't move me the way it used to. Because now I could see it clearly. She didn't want me back. She wanted the benefits back. I reached into the drawer beside Nolan's door, pulled out an envelope, and handed it to her. Her eyes flicked to it, hopeful for a second, like maybe it was money. Maybe it was a gift. Maybe it was me coming home. She opened it, and her face dropped. Inside were printed copies of one thing. A notice that I'd removed my name from every shared account I was legally allowed to remove it from. The streaming services, the phone plan add-ons, the nice-to-have stuff I paid for. And one final page, a simple note in my handwriting. You wanted a provider. Now provide for yourself. Serena's hands shook. This is insane, she whispered. You're being cruel. I shook my head. No, I said softly. I'm being consistent. She looked up at me with rage and tears mixed. You're going to regret this, she said. I nodded. Maybe, I said, but I won't regret respecting myself. And then she did what people do when they realize manipulation isn't working. She turned cold. Her voice dropped. Fine, she said, wiping her face. Don't come crying when you realize you threw away the best thing you had. I looked at her and said the final line that ended it. You threw me away first. She stood there frozen. Then she spun around and walked down the hallway, heels clicking, head high like she was trying to keep her dignity intact. But her shoulders were shaking. And when the building door closed behind her, Nolan looked at me and said quietly, You okay? I stared at the door for a moment. Then I exhaled. I'm not okay, I said, but I'm free. And that's when I realized the real twist of this story. The new contract wasn't what saved me. It just revealed the truth faster. Because if someone only wants you when you're winning, they never wanted you. They wanted what you could provide. 2 days after Serena showed up at Nolan's door, my phone started blowing up. Not from Serena at first. From her circle, her friends. The same ones who posted quotes about standards and real men. I got messages like, You're really leaving your wife after she supported you? Men always run when things get serious. You think money makes you better now? It would have been funny if it wasn't so ugly. Because Serena didn't support me. She kicked me out the second money got tight. And now she was trying to rewrite history like she was the victim of my success. I blocked them all. Every single one. Because I wasn't going to argue with people who only knew her version. Then Serena called again. This time from her own number. I stared at it for a moment, then answered. What? I said. Her voice came out shaky, but sharp. So you're serious, she said. Yes, I replied. A pause. Then her tone flipped, sweet again. Darian, you're acting like I'm some monster, she whispered. I was just scared. I stayed calm. Being scared doesn't make you throw someone out, I said. It makes you hold them tighter. Silence. Then she said, So what? You're perfect. I exhaled. No, I said, but I never treated you like you were worthless. That word hung in the air. Worthless. Because that's what she made me feel like. Her voice dropped low. You're doing this because you got money, she said bitterly. You're feeling yourself now. I almost laughed. No, I said. I'm doing this because you showed me who you are when I needed you. Then she got angry. Full anger. You think you're so smart, she snapped. You think you can just walk away like I'm nothing? I paused. Then I said quietly, That's exactly how you treated me. Her breathing got heavy. And then she said something that proved I was right. Fine, she hissed. If you don't come back, I'll make sure you regret it. There it was. Threats. Not love. Control. I kept my voice steady. Do what you want, I said. But don't contact me again unless it's through your lawyer. And I hung up. That night, I sat with Nolan and finally did what I hadn't let myself do. I grieved. Not Serena. The version of her I thought existed. The marriage I thought we had. Because losing someone doesn't always mean they died. Sometimes it means they showed you they were never really yours. The next week, I started my new job. New building. New badge. New routine. And something strange happened. My shoulders stopped feeling tight all the time. I started sleeping through the night again. I didn't realize how tense I'd been in that marriage until I wasn't in it anymore. Serena, meanwhile, started spiraling. I heard it through mutual friends. First, she told people I abandoned her. Then she told people I cheated. Then she told people I got money and changed. She posted sad quotes. Then angry quotes. Then videos about men who can't handle strong women. But the funniest part? She kept watching my LinkedIn. One of my coworkers told me she kept showing up as a profile viewer. over and over, like she was checking if I was real, if the new contract was real, if I was still worth it. 2 weeks into the new job, I got an email from our leasing office. Serena had tried to remove me from the lease and put someone else on, someone I didn't recognize, and the leasing office requested my signature. I stared at the email, then forwarded it to a lawyer, because now it was clear. She wasn't trying to save the marriage. She was trying to secure her lifestyle. I met with an attorney 3 days later, not to be petty, to be protected, and I filed officially. Divorce paperwork. Clean, simple, direct. When Serena got served, she called me 14 times in 1 hour. Then she left a voicemail that made my skin crawl. You're really going to do this to me after everything? After I stood by you. Stood by me. The lie was so confident it almost impressed me. I didn't respond. I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. Because the only people you owe explanations to are people who treated you with respect. 2 months later, I moved into my own place. Not huge, not flashy, but mine. Quiet, peaceful, no tension hanging in the air. No someone judging my worth based on my paycheck. The first night in that apartment, I sat on the floor eating takeout because I didn't even have a dining table yet. And I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. Not the fake peace of avoiding fights. Real peace. The kind you get when you stop negotiating your dignity. Serena tried one more time. 3 months after she kicked me out. 3 months after she told me to come back when I was worth it. She texted, I miss you. I made a mistake. Can we just talk? I stared at it for a long time. Then I replied with one sentence. You didn't miss me when I needed you. And I blocked her. Because here's what I learned. If someone only values you when you're useful, they don't love you. They rent you. And the moment your service isn't good enough, they try to replace you. So if you're watching this and you're in a relationship where your worth is measured in money, status, or what you can provide, hear me clearly. Love doesn't kick you out when life gets hard. Love doesn't threaten to leave when your paycheck dips. Love doesn't tell you to come back when you're worth it. That's not love. That's a transaction. And the day you stop begging to be chosen is the day you finally choose yourself. What do you think about this story? Let me know in the comments. Drop a like and don't forget to subscribe for more real-life stories.